Girls-Friendly Society history dates back to the 1870s, an age that seems to have little connection with our own times. Yet it too was a day of new things. Steam power for travel on land and sea was still a matter of wonder. It turned the wheels of the new spinning and weaving mills springing up everywhere. The Industrial Revolution had begun. It was also a new age for girls and women in both England and America. Women and girls began pouring into the manufacturing towns to work in factories or to serve in the homes of wealthy industrialists. Some girls came with their families, but many arrived alone. The work was drudgery, but for some girls, it offered independence and a chance to go out into the world and do something. We, who may take for granted the idea of working at all sorts of jobs, can scarcely realize the stir caused by these pioneer girls of the 1870s. The girls often found, however, their enjoyment of their freedom limited. They worked long, hard hours, and they were lonely and without friends. They often did not have appropriate social outlets for their free time. In England, Mary Elizabeth Townsend, a young married woman, watched this change with concern. She herself was a pioneer. She was vivacious, talented, and painted and sculpted well, and she was a gifted musician. Nevertheless, she was alert to the new movements of her day. When her husband was a candidate for Parliament, she campaigned with him and proved to be the better speaker of the two at a time when many people considered it improper for women to speak in public. Mary Townsend was not a social reformer in the usual sense, but as founder of the Girls-Friendly Society, she was one of those people who helped change conditions of the 19th century to those we enjoy today. Living in the country and working with a rescue organization in the Diocese of Winchester, Mrs. Townsend saw the challenges of girls who left their country homes to become servants in large town households. The girls were cut off from their families more completely than we can understand. They were uneducated and inexperienced, and they were lonely. Mrs. Townsend thought it would make all the difference in their lives if they knew of someone on whose friendship and knowledge they could call on at need. A woman of a keen and thorough mind, she outlined a plan and then considered her idea for 2 years, until 1875, in order to make sure her idea was practical. She proposed her idea to the Archbishop of Canterbury, her own rector, and 3 women. On January 1st, 1875, the Girls-Friendly Society was founded. The first girls' or women's organization in the Church of England, its purpose was to provide girls with friendship and recreation, bound in a fellowship of Christian love and service. In America, women's lives were changing also. Quiet New England villages were transformed almost overnight into industrial centers where the blast of the mill's whistle marked the time of day for thousands of people. Lowell, Massachusetts, was such a town, and the home of Elizabeth Mason Edson. Her father was the rector of St. Anne's Church, and Elizabeth was doing what she could to make her Sunday school class a center of friendship for the girls. She felt deep concern about the girls' working conditions in the Lowell mills. Elizabeth read in an English magazine about the newly formed Girls-Friendly Society in England. She realized the potentialities of a GFS for American girls and women, so she wrote to England for more information. Elizabeth's home in Lowell, Massachusetts, known as the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution, and the home of the true factory town. Girls were recruited from all over New England to work in textile mills in Lowell. They lived in boarding houses. Elizabeth saw the potential for GFS to serve these girls. So, in 1877, Elizabeth Mason Edson began a Girls Friendly Society branch. The nucleus of the branch was her Sunday school class, but it included other girls from all over Lowell, Massachusetts. GFS defined itself as a weekday group or work organization within the Protestant Episcopal Church. As the idea spread, the Massachusetts Diocesan Organization served as the center for national activities. During its early years, GFS established homes and centers for young working women. Through close ties with the chaplain of the Port of New York, immigrant women arriving in America received job and housing assistance. GFS assisted in forming the Travelers Aid Society in 1887 and began making systematic reports to the General Convention of the Episcopal Church in 1895. Between 1900 and 1920, GFS sought protective legislation for girls, worked for labor reform, and provided a number of war-related services, including raising thousands of dollars for Red Cross ambulances. In the mid-1920s, GFS America changed its name to the Girls Friendly Society of the United States of America. In the years that followed, GFS-USA became involved with refugee aid, issues involving women in industry, and armament limitations. In 1948, a revision to the GFS Constitution limited GFS membership to girls and women between the ages of 7 and 21. So as a result, some women over the age of 21 formed a separate organization known as the Sponsors of the Girls Friendly Society in the United States of America. In 1953, GFS-USA became an official observer at the United Nations, and during the same year, GFS-USA opened national offices in New York City. In 1955, GFS-USA joined the newly formed GFS World Council. The World Council, which meets every 3 years, was formed to promote fellowship between member countries by the exchange of information and ideas, and to promote world assemblies and camps, and to encourage visits and correspondence between members. A Summer Opportunities program began in 1955, and GFS members who participated in the program spent their summers working in the mission fields of the church. In the mid-1960s, there was a movement within the national church to question the need for and the value of organizations such as GFS, ECW, and other guilds within the church. This resulted in extensive cutbacks and reorganization of the Girls Friendly Society. On March 31, 1979, a Declaration of Unification was signed containing the same definition of GFS as in 1877. This act re-established GFS-USA National Assembly and made it possible for the organization to once again participate in International GFS World Council. In 2002, GFS-USA celebrated 125 years of GFS in the United States, Celebrations were held in Philadelphia and Los Angeles on the same day with over 400 women and girls in attendance. In 2005, USA hosted the GFS World Council in Villanova, Pennsylvania, and in 2008, GFS sent representatives to the World Council in Korea, in 2011 to Ireland, and in 2014 to Wales. Today, GFS diocesan and branch programs are meeting new challenges and continuing through both tradition and change to meet needs and members of GFS.